And what would normally be the kind of thing when you see a slower creature deck against a control deck, you say, hey, control's good there. Ted has a lot of value creatures, which he's leaning on in this matchup. You see starting on a copy of Attune with Ether.
Of all the spells that you cast on turn 1 and use your energy off of the hub, Attune with the Ether is probably the best, because it lets you make colored mana 2 more times, should you need it. Also, you know, finds a land to fix your mana, your colors.
And maybe activate an Aetherworks Marvel.
Also that.
Another Attune for Ted, setting up with those first 2 turns. Brings him to 4 energy.
Donegan leading on Needle Spires. He's actually playing 2 Spires to 1 Wandering Fumarole. Typically, Fumarole is the land that you go with this deck.
Yeah, it's interesting for a creature land to pick the Needle Spires. Probably much more of a concession to mana, would be my guess.
It's a nod to the fact that Fumigate is a double white spell.
Yeah. Servant to the Conduit, found with Oath of Nissa.
Also, the Immolating Glares means that he wants white mana early. So if he has to lead on a tapped land, he'd prefer it be his white source.
And here's the card you're talking about, Rogue Refiner, the first play of the game. That's from Ted. That one, the 3/2, draws him a card and gets him 2 energy when it enters the battlefield.
If you're just trying to play heads up 1-for-1 on the battlefield, Rogue Refiner is excellent. It's not only like a reasonable power, it's 3 mana, 3/2. That's totally fine just for a damage race, and it just replaces itself on top of that.
Anticipate from Dylan, then a land and pass. So Ted will start some attacks. The Refiner gets in for 3. And Ted's going to follow it up with another Refiner. And this is a great thing. I really like what his deck's doing right now, where he's presenting a lot of threats on the board without really expending any resources.
And if Donegan has a disallow, you almost have to.
He's gonna. But that's a win for Felicetti, right? That he got disallowed to be played on the Rogue Refiner.
It is and it isn't. Assuming that Donegan's able to go up the curve and has Torrential Gearhulk for that's a spell that you definitely want to counter. You stop Ted from getting the value. You get the disallow out of Donegan's hand, so you can possibly resolve a better spell, which if he's able to do in the next 2 turns, this could be very good. But I think that play is just correct for Donegan.
Ether Hub the play for Donegan. Refiner attacks. Now, Donegan's actually pretty long on lands right now. You see Saheeli Rai from Felicetti. Donegan's got Gearhulk, Fumigate, and Glimmer in his hand, so Saheeli will resolve. This is actually dangerous, yeah.
Curious about the post-combat Saheeli. I suppose Donegan has a lot of untapped red and white mana, so you don't necessarily want to just go ahead and -2, though copying Rogue Refiner with Saheeli is very powerful.
Servant to the Conduit, the next play from Ted. That gets him up to 7 energy.
Good time for an Aetherworks Marvel.
And he'll just pass. So he's scrying with Saheeli that turn. Dylan will go for Glimmer of Genius. So he should have mana to Fumigate next turn if he'd like. See Oath of Jace drawn there. That's a nod to Felidar Guardian. There are 2 copies of Oath of Jace in Dylan's deck this weekend.
It's a dicey spot for Fumigate, because then he's just dead to Felidar Guardian.
Right. And that's how this pressure is so good from Saheeli Rai. A difficult spot for the Jeskai deck is that it's not very well positioned to get a Planeswalker off the battlefield.
Yes. Basically comes down to attacking it with Torrential Gearhulk.
Oath of Jace from Donegan. Draw 2, discard, draw 3, discard 2. See 2 lands hit the bin. Port Town showing basic island and a pass. Now, Dylan is representing Harnessed Lightning. I don't believe he actually has the card.
Given that Ted did not copy the Rogue Refiner and attack with that on the previous turn, I'd be kind of surprised if he goes for the combo here.
Felidar Guardian, he will untap a land. Saheeli Rai copying Guardian. Ted's going to go for it.
All right.
Dylan doesn't have anything either.
That's going to kill him.
Yeah, the Gearhulk, Fumigate, Saheeli Rai. No, Dylan's got nothing. And yeah, Ted, no fear, and No punishment. He takes game 1. And I actually want to just like kind of compliment what's going on here. What the 4-color Saheeli deck can do here is, so say Dylan had the removal, it didn't seem like Ted they wouldn't even be that bad, right?
Rogue Refiner is very powerful.
Right. So okay. So say Ted goes for that play, right? Dylan removes the Felidar Guardian. Like life's still fine for Ted, right? He's still winning.
Yes.
So he gets to check Dylan on the removal spell. He gets a chance to win the game. And if he doesn't, yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah, you know, Donegan had a Fumigate there, and it just didn't matter. That's one of his generally more high-impact spells. Say he gets the matchup against the green-black Winding Constrictor deck. Card's very good. In this matchup, it is not nearly as powerful.
All right, so game 1 to Ted Felicetti as we go over to the sideboards. On Donegan's side, we saw him kind of get caught out there without an answer to the combo. So his sideboard has 3 Spell Quellers, 3 Negates, 3 Dispels, 2 Negates, 2 Quarantine Fields, 2 Radiant Flames, another Fumigate, that would make it 3. A Linvala the Preserver, and then a second Nahiri. What do you like here then?
I like Spell Queller a lot because countering all these value creatures is very important. It's another way to fight over the combo. That seems quite good. Also, just another way to pressure planeswalkers.
There's not that much removal in Ted's deck. It might even stick around.
Exactly. The Dispels and the Negates are okay. Given that Ted's deck's pretty creature heavy, I don't like these cards very much. I'd probably be shying away from that. As we saw in game 1, Fumigate wasn't particularly good. Radiant Flames I like a little bit more because it comes down for less mana.
Now, what about something like Quarantine Field? There's a need for Dylan to be able to answer. Well, we'll look at Ted's sideboard in a second. He wouldn't mind getting having an effect for the Saheeli Rai and maybe for any other enchantment Ted might play.
That one's okay. It's quite mana intensive, but it is a solid answer to a planeswalker. When he gets to 6 mana or 7 mana, he can leave up a counter spell the same turn he casts that.
Yeah. On Ted's side, he's got 2 Authority of the Councils. That's the big one here. 2 Dispel, 2 Fragmentize, 2 Fumigate, 2 Negate, 2 Oath of Chandra, 2 Tireless Tracker, and then a copy of Nahiri.
If you have Authority, and you assume your opponent's on the combo, you bring it in. I mean, that's why it's on the sideboard.
Well, what I like about it from Ted's side is that his deck likes to tap out a lot, and he's oftentimes vulnerable to the combo, but this stops that.
Yeah, on the board answer, that's great. I definitely expect Dispel to be in the deck post sideboard. You fight over any kind of counter war, protect your combo, that's great. Negate is also very good because it both counters Saheeli Rai, any kind of proactive planeswalker, and protects his own combo. Tireless Tracker is great. The game is probably going to go long. And Nahiri is great, again, because the game can go long. And say maybe
Planeswalkers just seem good here. Yeah. I'm pretty into it.
Donegan could potentially have his own authorities. They're not particularly good against this deck that's very heavy on creatures, but Nahiri is going to be good one way or the other.
And now you saw there, one of the things that Rogue Refiner did in that game, also just giving him free pressure. Also the energy it gave him, for cards like Aetherworks Marvel, pretty relevant. We actually, we're transitioning here. We're trying to see a lot of energy because now we get to debut the Jacob Bot Energy Token. That's now being given away, and as of last weekend, it's now shipping with orders from StarCityGames.com. So this is this is the token that Jacob won for winning the Invitational Season 3 last year. Did that with the Aetherworks Marvel deck, so got his likeness on a token. Now you get that from playing any of our Season 1 Opens, any of our Season 1 Classics. So if you were here in Richmond this weekend, you'd be getting one. And you can get them at home with an order of at least $5 from StarCityGames.com.
Got my Jacob Bot token last weekend. This is, of course, the Spirit Bomb, a Dragon Ball Z reference, as most viewers are probably aware of. I think that's kind of our demographic. Jacob Bob, big fan of anime. Not surprising to see him go that route.
I always referred to him as the Textlist Ponders. That was the Spirit Bomb Ponder. You know what I'm talking?
I'm trying to think of the art.
That was the original Magic Spirit Bomb. Looks like Dylan on a mulligan here for game number 2. Jacob Bot token though, I am a big fan of that.
Yes. Texas Ponder, it's like a guy pointing.
He's dropping a Spirit Bomb. That's what it is to cast Ponder. We're going to get that on screen in a second here. It's just great.
It's just not the kind of effect that I associate with a Spirit Bomb.
See, there we go. Boom. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right there.
So this card has a background, you're telling me. All right.
I understand how casting a cantrip doesn't feel like you're dropping a Spirit Bomb, but that's, Ponder is one of those understated cards. That fits.
Ponder's powerful in a very subtle way.
Right, yeah. You're getting hit by a Spirit Bomb, you just don't know it yet.
A lot of players want this and or
I would build great decks. Preordain, if you give me Ponder and Preordain, I will build great modern decks with those.
If you blue decks just get to play this, they're
I'll kill you.
People.
I'll kill you very, very early in the game. Don't worry about it. Oath of Jace off Botanical Sanctum for Ted. He finds Saheeli Rai. Now, I wonder if this isn't his opener. Remember how last game Dylan couldn't answer a Planeswalker? Now that he knows about Saheeli Rai, he has to like hold up something like Negate, maybe?
Countering it seems great.
Servant of the Conduit for Ted.
With Donegan on the play here, he does get access to disallow starting on Ted's turn 3.
This is what I love. Look at this. Just sure, cast Saheeli Rai on your open 3 mana. If you counter it, that's fine.
Yep,
it's just fine.
Just gonna keep doing other stuff. You took a mulligan,
and it resolves. A Scry from Ted, Scries to the bottom. In a match, this is what I like, though, is that the 4-color deck can do this with its threats,
Yeah.
Much more than the Jeskai deck could.
It's taking the aggressive role and is firmly doing that. A lot of its pieces generate value. The Rogue Refiners replace themselves. The Saheeli gets to Scry. It can really turn up the heat in combat by copying one of these creatures.
4th land and go from Dylan, and here Ted is going to put the pressure on. It's Rogue Refiner, draws a card up to 4 energy. He might just copy it, who knows?
Rogue Refiner resolving is a big game.
Yeah, just going to, go at that. Let's copy the Rogue Refiner. Show a removal spell, Dylan, if you have it. Does he? He does not. Ted draws and gets more energy. Actually, I think we're going to have to give anything. I think Ted gets his 6th energy here. He drew the card. You can't draw the card without getting the energy. You can't miss half a trigger.
Right. You cannot partially resolve anything.
If I can't forget to gain 3 off my Lightning Helix.
Yeah.
So the judge will give Ted the 2 additional energy. And 5th land from Dylan. He cast a Glimmer there on end step.
Got dispelled.
He tried to cast a Glimmer.
Ted just kind of winning on every front here. Basically, not having disallow for Rogue Refiner can really decide these games.
Yeah.
It's kind of subtle and innocuous.
Is that the card that matters? Like, we've got to counter those Rogue Refiners.
I think that Rogue Refiner might be Ted's most important card in the matchup.
I guess because with these do-nothings, I use that loosely, the Saheeli and the Felidar Guardian, the weak cards in the deck, they're both great with Rogue Refiner. So if you take out the Rogue Refiners, then Ted is left with this assortment of kind of medium-ish cards.
Right. Anytime you can copy it, it's excellent. On its own, it's a reasonable clock that replaces itself.
I guess, if all Ted's deck is Servant of the Conduits, Saheelis, and Felidar Guardians, I think our control deck can beat that.
Right.
Some 2/2s for 2, 1/4s for 4, and some Scry machines.
I playtested a good amount with Grixis control against this deck, and when I was losing, it was because of Rogue Refiner specifically.
You're just saying that because it's Elvish Visionary.
Elvish Visionary never attacked for 3. This card is excellent.
I see what you're up to. 10 energy after 2 attunes from Ted. Saheeli will Scry, waiting to that until he's done shuffling. Good sequencing by Ted. Swings for 5. Next turn, he'll get to copy another Rogue Refiner. Why not?
Yeah, Dylan, if he does nothing, is currently dead on board.
Yeah, he's down to 6. When did that happen? Ugh. He's going to try for another Glimmer.
Does have a copy of Radiant Flames in hand.
Here we go. Dylan actually gets to resolve a spell. Double Scry to the bottom. His hand is Radiant Flames, Nahiri, draws Oath of Jace and Anticipate off that Glimmer. And Fumigate the draw. So plenty of sweepers. But we've seen before, Ted is more than happy to just jam Felidar Guardian into this board. So say Dylan Radiant Flames, right? And Ted has Guardian. He'll just cast Guardian, blink the Oath of Nissa, get a card off Guardian, that's fine, and then be like, -2 my Guardian, you have anything? And then if Dylan says no, he loses. And if he says yes, Ted's like, okay, well, it drew a card,
Yeah.
Nah, could be worse. A lot of times with these 2-piece combos, if you go with Twin, right? If I cast the card Splinter Twin and you had the Abrupt Decay, it was actively bad for me. I got hurt. The thing about this deck, Ched's deck, is that when he goes for the combo and Dylan answers it, it doesn't hurt him.
The comparisons of the Jeskai control deck to Splinter Twin seem very exaggerated to me. I think that Splinter Twin was a much better deck. Obviously, it's a modern deck versus a standard deck, but in the context of its format, I think it was a much better deck. I think that comparisons of the 4-color Saheeli deck to Birthing Pod are pretty apt.
Yeah. Yeah, Pod just would go, you know, sometimes they drew the combo and then cool when it did.
Yeah.
Radiant Flame sweeps up the 2 creatures and Oath of Jace. Dylan's going to tap out. He'll lose to a Felidar Guardian. I don't believe Ted has one. He does have a Cloud Blazer, though. So it's not, Dylan's not going to lose exactly, but it's not going to be good.
If Rogue Refiner is good, Cloud Blazer is great.
Yeah, we'll gain 4, draw 4, put you to 4. I don't know, it seems great. Ted deciding what do you want. You can do anything. Here's Cloud Blazer. I'll go 22, draw 2. Draws Chandra and Dispel. Now Ted left up a Inspiring Vantage, so actually can't cast Dispel, but he will get another Cloud Blazer.
I was gonna bring that up. It's his only cast. He doesn't really have red or white spells on one.
He has the sideboard card, Authority of the Councils. I think that's what he was playing toward.
Sure. Yeah, Donegan is representing combo mana.
Yeah, so that's actually heads up on Ted's side. I like that.
Yeah, Dispel doesn't do anything about that.
Didn't find it, so can Dylan combo him? Does he have Guardian plus? He has Saheeli. If he has Guardian, it's good. I guess that's the weird part about having infinite combos. Is like this game's been all Ted every turn, but Dylan could just win right now.
Yeah.
Nothing mattered until nothing else mattered. But if he was going to combo, he wouldn't be casting Saheeli first. So
yeah.
Oh, I like this. Saheeli pluses to scry and deal 1 damage to the opposing Saheeli.
That's good.
Disallow in Dylan's hand. He has Disallow mana up. He passes to Ted. Now, Dylan's at 4, and Ted has a 2-power flyer, so all right.
Ooh.
Shock.
A shock
Ryan,
strategy.
no, you got to disallow it because he's going to shock his face and kill him.
I would not like to die to shock.
So
Ted shows him a Chandra Torch to the Finest, a 4-mana shock.
A 4-mana, right. So what happens is that Dylan counters the shock, then Ted says, I'm going to play Chandra plus it to you, attack with Cloud Blazer to you, and he just wins with damage.